funny thing is, with enough persistence, most things that seem impossible become possible.
Like you push through it, because what's the alternative? You're going to leave that idea stuck in your head forever? That sucks.
I remember taking a computer science course, and at the time they introduced this thing called a transistor, which is the building block of computers for those who don't know. And transistors were invented at this place called Bell Labs, which had a facility about 20 miles from my home. And after that lesson, I went and I dug up the telephone number to the Bell Labs facility and I called them. I said, "Do you have summer internships?" They said, "We absolutely do." I said, "Fantastic." They said, "If you're between your junior and senior year in college." I said, "Hey, I'm a junior in high school. I'm taking advanced math classes and computer science, getting all A's, just like being in college." They said, "No, it isn't." So I called every day for 2 weeks straight. The HR director, of course, stopped taking the calls after the second day. And I left a message with my phone number. Then I called every Monday for 5 months. And every time I called, the receptionist just chuckled, and she took my name, and she took my number, and she said, "We'll get back to you if there's an opening." And I kept at it. And to my surprise, the human resources director called my house in June and said, "Listen, an intern from MIT didn't show up. We have an extra slot. We're not promising you anything, but why don't you come on in and interview?" Now, of course, I knew I was the most qualified candidate for this job. And the truth is, I went in, I interviewed, I got the job. So the important thing that I want you to think about here is the persistence to get that job led to me working at Bell Labs for the next 4 years, becoming a co-op student, and ultimately finishing with a degree in chemical engineering from Cornell, all from being persistent.
To make changes in any organization, you have to have a measure of very high persistency. You've got to go on and on and on and on. If you don't have that persistency, very often you fall off just when success is around the corner.
You took the acting classes and stuff?
Yeah, I took acting classes. Even in my acting classes, I couldn't get a part.
Oh, my Lord.
That's the truth. That's
really?
The truth, yeah.
Well, how'd you break through?
I don't know. It's just determination, you know, and not giving up and persistence.
You will fail at some point in your life. Accept it. You will lose. You will embarrass yourself. You will suck at something. There's no doubt about it. And I know that's probably not a traditional message for a graduation ceremony, but hey, I'm telling you, embrace it, because it's inevitable. And I should know. In the acting business, you fail all the time. Early on in my career, I auditioned for a part in a Broadway musical. Perfect role for me, I thought, except for the fact that I can't sing. I didn't get the job. But here's the thing. I didn't quit. I didn't fall back. I walked out of there to prepare for the next audition, and the next audition, and the next audition. I prayed. I prayed, and I prayed. But I continued to fail, and fail, and fail. But it didn't matter, because you know what? There's an old saying, you hang around the barbershop long enough, sooner or later you're gonna get a haircut. So you will catch a break, and I did catch a break. Last year, I did a play called Fences on Broadway. Someone talked about it. Won the Tony Award. And I didn't have to sing, by the way. But here's the kicker. It was at the Court Theater. It was at the same theater that I failed that first audition 30 years prior.
It's hard changing your life. It was hard when just over 3 years ago, in the Penobscot building in Detroit, Michigan, where I was operating my business, and I fell on some hard times, and I was sleeping in my office. It was hard coming into the lobby, and the security said, "Excuse me, Mr. Brown, can we see you for a moment?" And I said, "Yes," and I walked up to the counter, and he gave me an envelope. And he said, would you mind reading it here? And I opened the envelope, and the envelope was from management that said, this is an office tower. It's not a hotel. Please do not sleep in your office. And I said, excuse me, sir. I said, I just work long hours in creating my business. I'm an entrepreneur. And right now, things are bad for me. But they're not going to be this way always. And I just asked for the opportunity to continue to operate like I'm doing. I'm not trying to make this my home. And it was hard coming through the lobby. And sometimes they would laugh. There's a guy talking about becoming successful. And look at him. He's bathing in the bathroom upstairs on the 21st floor. He sleeps on the floor. Him and two other dreamers up there. Look at him. It was hard, ladies and gentlemen, coming to speak to people. And I was facing financial difficulties in my own life. I was behind on my bills and my dreams, and I'm saying to them, you can live your dream. It was hard, ladies and gentlemen. It was very difficult to pick myself up each day believing that I could do it. There were times that I doubted myself. I said, God, why is this happening to me? I'm just trying to take care of my children and my mother. I'm not trying to steal or rob from anybody. Why did this have to happen to me? It was very hard. And here's what I want to say to you. For those of you that have experienced some hardships, don't give up on your dream. No one could have convinced me by holding on, by continuing to push forward, by continuing to run toward my dream, that one day I would have my own talk show. It's a long shot, ladies and gentlemen, from Liberty City, an abandoned building on a floor, never knowing my mother or father. It's a long shot. Being here with you today in this dome in Atlanta, it's a long shot. No college training, labeled educable, mentally retarded, but I kept running toward my dream. Don't stop. Don't stop. Don't stop running toward your dream.